What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again, as usual. And of course, I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you in this fine day that we're having here. Right? So, before we get into it, I want to issue a disclaimer, right, for all the material that's going to be shown in this here video. So let's get to it, right? Well, there's a reason, right? Just like the last time they said the same thing, right? You remember that? I hope people's memories is not too short. This is not the first time. Of course, like I said, right? The war between Europe and America is gonna reach its peak soon. But again, the Europeans do not have leverage, you know. But again, please, shh, don't tell them. Like in the introduction of the last video, I said nothing has changed. That's the beast system for you, right? Just a funny meme I saw circulating around. And when I saw this story, I was amazed, you know. Highly resilient people, something else. Believe that, you know. The last time I covered it, they were taking their tests. But I heard one of their university got raided by you know who.
Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to from now on do trade in their own currencies, in their own currencies, in their own currencies. Get right around the dollar. They're creating a in the world totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction currencies other than the dollar. That we won't have the ability to sanction.
Thank you, I guess. All right, this is another interesting piece of news I came across. Supercritical carbon dioxide, they call it. And they have one deployed. Right, this right here is what we call game-changing. Right? This is some game-changing stuff. Right? 85% efficiency. Can you even... Is it like over Unity? Eh? Yeah, quite interesting. This is what they say. Just here to show each other. The Danish minister. What do they need it? They need it for that. Now let's see what Pompeo said. The Iranian regime is in trouble. Bringing in mercenaries is its last best hope. Riots in dozens of cities and the Basagi under siege. Mashhad, Tehran, Zedan, next stop, Burkistan. 47 years of this regime. Porter's 47. Coincidence? Happy New Year and the Iranian to everyone in the Iranian streets. Also to every Mossad agent walking beside them. Okay, Pompeo, if you say so. This is almost funny, but it isn't. but it is. Multinational force, they call it. They are verifying everything. I don't know what stumbling block is. Some people done found out some stuff. I heard they were refusing, saying it was a bad idea for various reasons. And I would suggest they stay out. That's just my suggestion, you know. How do I know? They can't stop, won't stop, you know. These two, right? They're perfect for each other. Right? These two, of course, there was suspicious stuff going around, a lot of suspicious stuff. Right? The fog of war, they call it. Right now, the fog of war is clearing, and some truth is coming out. Of course, people are gonna come to the strange realization. This is what they're saying. Look at how happy my guy is right here. Shall find out.
They told you it was about oil, but what if I told you the U.S. just stole $1 trillion in silver while everyone was watching the wrong headline? It was not a war, it was a resource extraction op. Look, less than 24 hours after the U.S. invaded Venezuela, a deal was inked. A new $8 billion silver smelter facility financed by JP Morgan, jointly owned by the Department of Defense, to process Venezuelan silver. Why? Because JP Morgan was underwater on a physical silver short worth billions. They did not invade for oil, they invaded to bail out the bank. Comment scroll if you're ready for the real blueprint. We'll scan your scroll and remind you how you already won. Look, Venezuela sits on the Arco Minero, trillions in unmined gold and silver. JP Morgan gets caught rigging silver, pays $1 billion in fines, and now they just buy the smelter and rewrite the rules. And they did it with your tax money. The U.S. military didn't just topple a regime, they cleared the path to mine collateral for a failing financial system. Comment scroll to decode your wealth timeline. What's coming next will crush the unprepared. Look, silver just crossed $75 per ounce. Physical silver is trading near and above $100 per ounce, depending on where you live in the world. But JP Morgan and Comex are still manipulating paper prices. Meanwhile, crude oil is collapsing, and for the first time ever, the paper market is losing control. The return to sound money is here. Sovereign money, scroll-backed money, but it's not gold. It's the metal they tried to bury, silver. They didn't just build a smelter, they built an extraction funnel, and they're draining the vaults in broad daylight. You're either on the scroll-coded path, or you're the liquidity they're stealing from. Comment scroll if you're done playing their game. They told you.
The black athletes who went to the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, they were told that the Germans were like the master race, white supremacists, the evil bastards, and they hate all you black folk, they hate everybody who isn't them, and da-da-da-da-da. And then all the black athletes went over to Germany, and they got treated with more love and respect than they ever got back home. And Jesse Owens himself, was it 4 gold medals, 5, whatever.
He was the most famous of all the athletes.
He literally, Adolf, like, literally paid him respect, and the American press, who owns the press?
The Jews,
that group again. They got more respect over there, and Jesse Owens died destitute, poor. You know, that's what he was when he got back home. He was a subhuman who, you know, yeah, while you're winning medals and making America look good, well, you know, and doing our national anthem and all that kind of stuff, like, great, but when you get back home, Blackie, you know, you're nobody. The black athletes.
There is a brutal, illegitimate dictator, but that does not.
You see, if this type of, or rather this pattern of behavior does not change in Europe, I see a big collision, right? You see, because what you're gonna hear here is not just an opinion of a person, right? This is not an opinion of a person. This is an opinion of a person in power with the ability to garner support to do something about said idea that we are gonna hear, right? There is this sick colonial mindset. I think that there are ways that this mindset is reinforced, brothers and sisters. This is very, very suspicious and peculiar, right? Because when he's talking about a whole president, okay? He's talking about a whole president. I don't know what the heck is he, but he's talking about a whole president, right? And just listen here, right? And you tell me if you think at the end of this was appropriate in any way, then brothers and sisters, we have a long way to go and a lot of fighting to do.
To give President Trump a free pass for illegal action.
Okay, first, hypocrisy. Right? We have been talking this over and over. Okay, we can mention many Kosovo. How about that? How about Libya? Where those somehow, did you find a legal, like they say, loophole to do what you did over there? What is the difference? Like, I'm trying to find out. What's the difference? Is it then okay if you do it because you have the high moral standing or something like that? Because truly, these people believe such notions, right? That they have a superior moral compass, that they could lead the world, and they should, and they have the responsibility. I don't know who teach them this nonsense, right? But when you hear them speaking about other countries, it's like full of contempt, you know, full of contempt, right? And it's everywhere, you know. This is, even you hear the young ones there, their children talking like, Africa is a failed continent. I think we should recolonize the thing, you know. So where do you think that comes from? And I'm genuinely interested. Maybe it's a systematic breeding of this ideology in schools or somewhere, because I don't think it's online alone on hidden platforms. No. This is a much bigger problem because they're doing this in public, you know. Let's listen.
This wasn't about liberating the Venezuelan people.
Again, Libya.
Trump's refusal to back Nobel Prize winner Maria Machado.
Wow, the invocation, right? The invocation is both to praise and to provoke. This is masterful. Let's just say that. Masterful. Why? Because Trump lost the Nobel Prize, right?
Maduro's brave liberal opponent shows Trump has no interest
Liberal, brave opponent.
in Venezuelan.
Do we call that interference? Can we call that interference? Yes, it is interference. Because like I said again, this is not just an opinion of a guy down the road. No. This guy here has the power to organize him and his buddies to actively do something about their chosen. Because why? Like the beginning of the video, illegitimacy. They can claim illegitimacy without being questioned, without proving it, nothing. They can just say illegitimate.
This is about Trump.
First of all, what is that? Like, are you like sheep or something? Yeah. Like, really? This is a charade here, right? Like, crazy. Some crazy work here we are seeing.
Think he can grab anything he wants.
That's exactly what defines Europe and America. Literally. But here they are, right? Again, no honor among thieves. I hope they hear this.
And get away with it. This time, oil.
Wow.
We know what happens when an American president launches an illegal war under the pretext
So basically they're excusing every war that they participated in that context.
Of an imminent threat. It's why we oppose the Iraq war and why we condemn Trump today. National sovereignty matters. National law matters. Without them, the world is far more dangerous, and we are all less.
Wow. Talk about less safe. People are literally flooding your continent, so-called continent, because you have caused trouble everywhere else. You and your buddy America and that synagogue of Satan over there, which is also Europe, or rather European.
Safe. Anyone who thinks Trump's actions will make China or Russia think twice is either hopelessly desperate or desperately naive. Putin and Xi will be using this president to strengthen their hands in Ukraine and Taiwan. And
Bruh, look at his hand that is holding the paper.
Madam Deputy Speaker, anyone who thinks Trump will stop with Venezuela hasn't read his news.
My guy's hand is shaky as hell. Right?
National security strategy. He's already threatening Colombia, Cuba, and Greenland, and even democracies across Europe. Does the Foreign Secretary not realize how ridiculous it looks to refuse to call this what it is?
Where do you get your oil from, bruh? Talk too much.
A clear breach of international law. Will she at least publish all the advice the government has received on the legality
Wow.
of Trump's actions?
The implications here are really great for the Venezuelan people. The implications here.
If we actually want to protest effectively, waste companies' time. Don't boycott them. Call their support numbers and spend hours on the phone with them. Go into banks, start opening accounts, and then the second it comes to finalize it, just leave. We can.
It is so planned out. That's why it's so diabolical. And that's why probably it's gonna work.
Just fill stores we hate and waste their time. Time is money. Let's waste these people's time. They want us outside in the street because they know money is power. They know time is money and everything. So if we're just outside doing this for the most part, it doesn't really do too much. But if we waste their time, that actually works. If we actually want to protest effectively.
So, the sun strikes again. Axis of evil, right? Strong invocations. Right, let me see when I took this one. Info. January 6th at 11:02. We're gonna circle back to this. Okay, like that silence war, right? Everybody pulling out their Trump card, no pun intended, but still. Alright, that's the only leverage France has in order to quote unquote pressure. Right? What are they gonna do? They're gonna do what is familiar to them. Sanction, and if that fails, regime change, and if that fails, an invasion. Look at them, you know, all in their suits. Okay, agreeing is one thing, but this will not be seen as a so-called peace deal from the perspective of the Russians, and you know it, don't you? But I don't know. Maybe Greenland will be like you scratching Trump's back, and then Trump would need to scratch your back. Yeah, that's one simulation. Because like they said many times, they need the US. Even Zelensky himself says there will be no peace without the US involvement, not only the Europeans or the coalition or the willing. Many names over the year. Have we seen footage from these pride parades? Are they appropriate? This is that hypocrisy we keep talking about, brothers and sisters. We have seen a lot of inappropriate stuff in public, not even AI generated. They're exploding. Strong language here. Eh? Oh, concrete progress, you say? Okay. On your part. Again, these guys are tickling themselves and laughing. Right? This is some crazy work here we are beholding. Eh? Again, I've seen this statement, or rather heard people invoke this statement. And again, in my opinion, I think it's a half a truth pertaining to how the world really works, right? Who do you criticize? Right? Who do you criticize? First of all, the one that you know, right? And then everything else follows after that, but you have to know that person. So if a person is not in the public eye, then that will be a perfect cover for them, huh? Because this seems like a declaration, just like declaring Elon is the richest man on the world. Is that a fact? Have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nicolas Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism conspiracy, right? Meaning he intended to act or to do acts of terror intentionally, right? Intentionally weaponizing drugs to harm Americans. Cocaine import conspiracy. Possession of machine guns and destructive Is he an American? Why is he being charged under American law? I don't get it. And conspiracy to possess machine gun and destructive against the United States. Okay? They will soon face full wrath of the American justice on American soil in American courts. Or rather she's a whole attorney general, right? Because she knows if she doesn't play along, her house might, catch an accidental fire or something, But again, did he or she avoid said fire? We're gonna find out, right? On behalf of the entire US DOG, I would like to thank the president for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people, and a huge thanks to our brave military, again, who conducted incredible and highly successful mission to kidnap, right? Again, most people have heard about the BBC memo that went out. Again, Reli Mado, where is he at? This is the second time, right? The first time, not allowed to criticize Israel. The second time is this one. This is the second memo, right? To never use the word kidnap, right? They rather use the word capture or taken or something else. It's a whole scandal, right? You have to be like on the underground to come across such minute detail, right? But again, Attorney General here, Bondi, she's playing along, right? She's playing along, and of course, we are here to document, right? So as later, there will be no backsliding. Yeah? This is an extract from the movie, right? After the aftermath of nuclear war. What do you think this movie is about, for instance? Yeah, this is now necessary, right? Matter of fact, just feed them with missiles and machine guns and a big beautiful flag, right? We didn't been having this conversation since last year. They won't stop. They can't stop. They've been talking about it, even in the so-called Baltic Sea, right? They have plans, and they're just waiting to pounce. They're just waiting for a violation, so to speak, and for them to pounce. Stay dangerous for the world's sake, and for if it has not been made official, China and Russia, you people are the unofficial police of this world. You need to understand that. Again, a lot of stuff coming out, right? But I don't see any proof in the horizon. Let's just let's just say that. How about Trump? Regime change, They have been calling you since last year. We have evidence. They have been calling you to do a regime change in their country. Please. Look at that. So, anyway, I'm just here to show you the madness of the world that we are living in. Right? So as people, do not see what we were talking about in the past that has come to fruition now, to have a grasp that we are not overreacting when we were talking the way we were talking. It was accurate and precise. And it takes a lot for one to admit. So anyway, two of my friends got attacked bioweapon style, YouTubers, of course, outspoken, of course. One goes by the name Cosman and the other Nefakari. All went down during the same period. Sickly, unable to post all of a sudden. Quite familiar. And that's the price of the war, brothers and sisters. Now imagine that happening to you for years and years. Just special packages of diseases and stuff just to mess with you. It builds character, that's for sure. Anyway, let me not go on for long. I'm gonna put a pin on it right there, and of course we're gonna hear from each other when we hear from each other. Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.